Hey folks, Cal here, Desert. Welcome back to yet another video. So for today's video, I thought we'd talk about, rather than like following me through like kind of another Let's Play, like we've been doing in a lot of these sessions, I want to talk about like, just general setup of like how to set up your declare play techniques. So when you're gonna play a hand, what are the kind of things you should think about, at the start of a deal as you plan your play. So there's a lot of ways we can do this. So for this hand, this is from a Let's Play tournament that I currently clicked on, through the college day-long Just Declare tourney. So we're in this funny 7 diamonds, and our goal is just like, how do we plan our play on this hand? You know, this is a very interesting hand. We make this hand pretty much most of the time as long as trump split. But there's several good things going on in this hand that I think worth our like considering for like how you would plan the play. That I think are good to talk about. So let's just like talk about our general planning of the play. So the first thing you want to do in planning the play, usually you want to just review the auction for any information about the suit lead. And something that one of my mentors has told me to do, or maybe I read this in a book, I can't remember. I think one of the members in the USBF junior program recommended doing this. Maybe some Sylvia. Sylvia She, the one thing I did from her. I have nothing really against Sylvia. She's nice, but cheating is bad. Don't cheat. Cheating is very bad, and there's very good debate going on about who should be able to represent the U.S. in national events. Because, anyway, off topic. So yes, I picked this up from Sylvia, and it's about. But other mentors in the USBF program have recommended this approach to me, and it's about counting the length. I'm making a prediction about the suit lead and opening lead. So for this example, this is Ace of Ace King, so this isn't a length lead in general, so we can't necessarily know much from this, but we do have the auction. So let's make just a prediction just to get our head in the right space. How do we think the opening lead suit splits? So let's say I think they probably have 7 spades, because if they had 8 to the Ace King, they probably would have opened 4 spades. So I'm going to say spades are 7, 3, 3, 0. So just predict a bridge shape around the table for the opening suit. You can see as you get later in the hand, that starts to give you more hints on how to play the hand. For example, like if I'm debating later if a suit splits 3, 3 or 4, 2, I'm going to remember, okay, I thought spades were 7, 2, 3, so restricted choice probably means that this other suit is 4, 2. 4 with east, 2 with west. If I had to make a prediction for like a common break on that hand. Or maybe I've seen that they've shown 7 spades and they've already followed to like 3 rounds of trump. So I think actually they might be 5-1. Something a little more funky. So, counting the initial opening lead actually gives you a lot of good info on how to just think about distributions later in the hand. The second thing you want to do is often think about like if you should pull trump in this hand. So for example, in this hand we're in a grand. So like, do we have enough tricks where we have all 13 tricks where we can't pull trump? So we're gonna rough this opening lead clearly with the 2 of diamonds, but not necessarily like in other hands. Like let's say there definitely could be a situation where the suit blocks where I might have to rough high. So like if I have like the jack of diamonds, I might consider roughing high so that I can win the second and third trump with the south hand. Or maybe that would be like if I had ace king third across, like queen jack 10. I'd probably rough high because like how likely is 5-0 trump on this deal? Like is what's more likely, 5-0 trump or 5-0 clubs, for example? Because the other option to getting back to my hand to pull trumps would be in by playing a low club to my king queen. So looking at should trump need to be played right away. Usually you want to do a trick inventory by each suit, probably even before like figuring out to pull trumps. So we can count this hand if diamonds break 3-2, or if West shows up with if they weren't leading a spade, if they were looking at the diamond suit in isolation, I can pick up 3-2 in either hand, and I can pick up 4-1 with east, because if I got to play the suit normally on a non-spade lead, I could cash ace of diamonds, king of diamonds, see West show out on the second diamond, and then hook the jack of spades, hook to my 10 of diamonds if they play low. There's things like that. Clubs, we look at, you can use inventory by each suit. So hearts, we have 3 sure heart tricks, and we have a 4th if hearts split 3-3, which is about is it like, I forget the probabilities. Is it like, I want to say it's like 40, 50, 10. So about 40% they split 3-3. About a 50% chance that they split 3-3, and then 10% chance that they split 5-1 or worse. So we probably have 3-3. So we have the 4 if the suit splits. We also have 4 if there's like a squeeze. You can imagine some sort of like single squeeze on like West so you'd have to pick hearts in another suit. Here we don't have a good squeeze suit because the clubs are just running and the diamonds look like they're just running. So it's not like there's a squeeze to consider here, but like you'd have to think about how might we mature a 4th heart trick. So this club suit is interesting too. We have the 5 top clubs, so we can pick up 5-0 clubs, but we probably have to be careful with how this suit blocks. So it's king queen tight across ace jack 10 5th. So that means we probably want to win the 2nd club in the north hand with the ace to unblock the club so that we can run the suit. Because we probably don't need to guard against the unlikely 5-0 club break on this hand. But it's possible on the other hand we might. So you got to think about unblocking. You got to think about entries. You got to think about how many entries do we have. So in this hand, we might potentially only have 1 entry in this hand because we need to unblock the club. So we probably have 1 club entry and 1 trump entry, the queen of trump. But if we block the suit with the ruff here, like we only have 1 entry, and that's the club. And we could develop another entry by ruffing high with the ace or king of diamonds if we needed. But then now we have to finesse east for jack third or play for jack doubleton to drop. So there's things like that. Sometimes you look for like combined chances play, like if we had 2 suits with like a finesse position available, let's say we had like ace king jack 4 of hearts, and we were in like 6-0. Maybe there's a universe where you test if you might test let's say you might test if doubleton queen of hearts falls before taking a diamond finesse or something like that. Doesn't quite work on this hand, but you can imagine like let's say it was like ace third of diamonds across king jack 5th of diamonds. So we could do some combined chance line where maybe we test for doubleton queen of diamonds and then fall back on the heart finesse if we just need to mature 1 trick to make our contract. There's things like that. You might look at doing something slightly anti-percentage to get a higher net percentage for how you might play the hand. Yeah, so these are just like things I think about just from looking at these 2 hands. I know kind of a little bit all over the place, but like these are just definitely good things a top expert might think about an opening lead. So I hope that's useful. So let's actually just play out the hand, see if anything really funny happens. I have no idea what happens on this hand. But basically my actual plan on this hand would be to ruff low and just play for 3-2 trumps, and I'm not really concerned about 5-0 clubs. So we're just going to test ruff low, test diamonds. They both follow. And then if this doesn't get ruffed, we're good. So we could pull the last trump. And then we have entries to run all these clubs because there's only 3 more clubs out. So we could actually just claim on this hand. But you can see like sometimes there could be disadvantages. So like another thing, going back to look at that hand, we can see there's some situations like for example, if clubs do split 5-0, they now get to cash a bunch of like spades. So like something particularly, this is definitely like a match point equity thing. You think about some risk reward. So like sometimes there's lines that are fairly safe to get a certain number of tricks. But then some lines are more likely to make your contract. But if you go down, you might get down more than you necessarily had to on the hand. So sometimes you have to think about your equity on the type of contract you're in versus where you expect other people to be. If you expect multiple people to be in your contract, and the equity to make the hand requires a very specific layout that's low percentage. Maybe you play for a specialized line that guarantees down 1 versus actually making your hand. Because you don't, more under tricks could be a 0. When you're in a higher level, when you're in a weird contract that you don't expect a lot of people to be in, so like let's say we're in a slam that's low percentage and we don't think anyone's going to be in here, and we think any negative score is a bad score, then you go balls to the wall and you try to make your contract because anything besides making your contract gets you 0 equity. But there can be hands where you're in like a close 3-0 that you expect a lot of people to be in, and you see like you've been given a position where you can for sure go down 1. Whereas if you take the risky route, you might go down like 3 for a 0. And maybe the opponents have already done like one advantageous, it's one thing that's to your advantage on this hand. Maybe, let's say, the opponents have given you a trick at trick one that you don't think you should have gotten, like from a normal lead. Like, let's say they lead like singleton queen into like, let's say they lead the king when you have like the ace on the board and the queen in your hand, and it's probably like singleton king, and you think not many people are probably going to lead singleton king on this hand. And like you would not have picked up that king naturally. I don't know what this would be. I guess this would be like queen doubleton in your dummy and like ace fifth in hand, and let's say like ace jack fifth in hand, like a holding where you never have dropped singleton king naturally. So like maybe if that happens on the lead and you're like, gosh, we're in such a noble contract, but this contract is like completely hopeless, and these suckers have given me like an extra free trick to start. Like maybe you just cash out for down one while you're ahead, rather than take like a risky like 20% line to make your contract. But then if it fails, you might go down 3 or 2, which is, and sometimes you can look at that and maybe like going down 2 in that hand is also good because they still gave you a trick on the lead. So you got to see, and some of this is just like judgment reading on like how you think this auction might go based on the information you have. You can use common things like this, like, do we have like, if we have like a 30 points and we're in a game contract, like you expect everyone to be there. If you push to like a light 22 point like Shapely game, maybe not. You look at the skill level of the room. You judge your opponent's actions, like was there a very frisky aggressive preempt or something that doesn't make sense that you suspect might not be replicated. Now, like often you don't have perfect information and you don't want to like judge a silly view, like go down in a cold contract because you like, have misevaluated, you made a judgment about some action at the table that was one of your opponents. And, you judge they did something unusual when they actually just did something very normal for your hand. You have to have good self-awareness on that. So like, I'd say in general, try to do normal things, but like, there's some elements you can't control. And like, these are not like things you should be taking a big position on to like dramatically change how you're going to play a hand. But there are definitely things you can consider. So this is kind of a short, little rambly video, a little under 15 minutes. Hopefully, like these are just things that go on in my head when I'm thinking about a hand. Definitely like good to have a checklist and maybe develop some of your own ideas, and feel free to share them in chat or in my Discord server. We can have a good discussion about it. But yeah, this is just like good to clear play things. Having a good growth mindset and like thinking about how you're going to approach a hand, particularly when the dummy comes down. And let me just say, these are like good things to think about on defense too. So like there's often debate in the expert level community about like taking time to think at trick one, and it's generally agreed on that trick one you can generally think a little bit extra if you need to. If you can play without much UI and in a quick manner to like what your trick should be at trick one, you can just do that. But you can leave your card face up on the table and continue to think. Even if you have an easy trick one decision. Sometimes you don't have an easy trick one decision, and you might want to process the whole hand. Your evaluation of the whole hand could change based on, needing to think a little bit about like, if you're going to duck your honor around, or, are you going to hop king here if they lead low from the race? Like, things, there's always like really complicated things like that where you're going to want to like flag different potential card combinations you could be challenged on if the opponent does something unusual. Leading from dummy. So trick one on defense, you want to think, often these same things, like what is the likely distribution from the opening lead? These are all like great, good tips for how to think about just like how to construct a defense in your mind, how to just construct a declare a play thing in your mind. So hopefully this little lesson helps. I plan to do more of these videos. Maybe we'll just do like a Kyle's thoughts declare a play video every once in a while. But these are just good things to keep on the top of your head. So if hopefully this wasn't too boring, a video just kind of looking at one hand and just talking through a thought process, but it just goes to show like there's often a lot of depth in a particular hand, and you don't want to get lazy. So thanks for watching today's video. We do have our sponsor for today's video. So I've been kind of advertising this low key, but our sponsor for like the next month or so is this awesome work organization that my company sponsors called Climb to the Cure. I'm just trying to get to the homepage to what it looks like. But they do this really awesome thing. We try to raise a few $1 million for like childhood cancer. It's a great little charity that my company is a big supporter of. Or I think it's our own charity, but through some like other foundation. I guess Climb to a Cure is our thing, and it goes to Cure for Childhood Cancer, which is some other organization. But it's a great, definitely like a great charity if you have extra money to donate this time of year. And yeah, just a good cause. So I'm trying to highlight it in my videos. So anyway, thanks for watching today's one, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.